And we're live. Welcome everyone to another episode of React Native Mornings. It's great to see people kind of coming on now. This is episode 6 with none other than Gant Laborde. Gant, how are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Oh, I was like, wait, what? Should we try that again? Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Good, good. That was literally me, but not as excited for a second. Whew.
Oh, wow.
I guess like I always like to kind of start these off. As people are signing on, go ahead, let us know where you're joining us from. I'm, Mazen Chami. I live in Durham, North Carolina, as always, and I'll be your host for today. Gant, where are you joining us from?
I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana,
Nice.
the armpit of the nation that makes the best gumbo and Creole food you could ever ask for. No technology, all the good times. Come visit sometime when you're feeling burnt out.
Well, no, New Orleans or NOLA, I guess. Do people call it NOLA on your end?
NOLA, yeah, we call it NOLA a lot. As a matter of fact, you'll hear NOLA more than you'll hear Nowlands or anything like that. Okay. Yeah, you'll hear NOLA.
NOLA. Well, city that has some good food. I can say from experience. I got to spend my bachelor party there, and we had some. Pause for a second. Gator burgers.
Yeah.
They were good. When in New Orleans, I guess. Other than the beignets.
We can cook anything. I mean, take a look at crawfish, and they're called crawfish. If you call them crayfish, I'm sorry. Crayfish. We'll just have you'll just get disconnected here. But crawfish are absolutely delicious. Only when we cook them,
Yeah, nice. I will say the experience that I had in New Orleans, like going to I believe it was the river there to see the gators. Yeah, they did the weirdest things. So they threw marshmallows out the boat. And they like just ran over. I think it's a reflection thing. And then they would like hang up like a whole chicken. And then you just see the whole gator come up and grab chicken and go down. It was weird. So weird.
I will say, the natural things that people are interested in, like, oh, look at this, look at that. The easy stuff to appreciate isn't New Orleans. We have really complicated architecture. We have really complicated cultures. We have really complicated and amazing textures and our food. And so if you're here and you're looking at things on the surface, you're like, oh, great, there's Bourbon Street. That's it. That's all you'll see. But you'll walk past 6 or 7 amazing experiences that you didn't know to stop and like take part in. This is really a city for slowing it down, figuring stuff out, and then just enjoying yourself and kind of letting you be bored for a minute so that you find something new and exciting.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, it was very fun. I will say that.
Do you remember the whole trip, or did you go to Bourbon Street?
No, I remember the whole trip. Yes, we did. We did the traditional Bourbon Street, of course. But then we did a lot of, food hopping, gastronomy. Like that's something that I'm big into whenever I travel. So went to a bunch of different restaurants. There was one restaurant I remember. It was like the fanciest one we went to. The dessert came in like this big, like honestly, what looked like a jewelry box with drawers, and then you pull out a drawer, and then there's like a macaron in one. You pull another drawer, there's like a little cake and stuff. The food was really good in New Orleans. I will say that.
Yeah, and the desserts are amazing. We have a bunch of them. Baked Alaskas, of course, which is not just native to New Orleans, but we put on a show with our food. Yeah. Anytime you have something that you're looking to get, Bananas Foster, it's made by Tableside. They're roasting the bananas right there, the flames shooting up into the sky and everything like that. It's really good, and we don't have to worry about fire at all here. Everything's wet, so we can just do whatever we want.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we have some people joining us. Wilmington, North Carolina. JP, welcome. PDX, Vancouver, Denver, Colorado. This is fun. Paris, welcome. Thank you. And see, you're also a fan of React Native Radio. Thanks for that. And hopefully React Native Mornings can continue to give you those answers too there. That's awesome. I also want to kind of talk and kind of let me formally introduce you here
Yeah.
again. So as we wait for people to come on, Kent, you're a coder, AI guru, author. I don't think a lot of people know that about you. Author. I have your book here somewhere.
Yeah, it's holding up the table, so it's not leaning anymore.
It's not. It's over there on my desk over there next to the other books. And I also hear, or rather no, I've been part of on the other end of this, but you're also a magician. Is that right?
Yes, I am. And actually, you surprised me about 15 minutes before we got started and said, "Can I do some magic tricks for the show?" So
Yeah.
I would love to do a couple magic tricks for everybody to warm us up.
Let's do it.
That sound good?
Yeah.
All right. So I made a prediction in here. Okay. Mazen, as you can see, I have some cards here, just normal cards, nothing special about them, just normal cards. Okay. Now, Mazen, I did not ask you for a card ahead of time, correct?
Correct.
Give me a card.
Do you want the suit and the... How about a 3 of hearts?
3 of hearts. Okay. Well, there's something interesting about this I want you to see. So I'm going to go through this, and I found one card here, the 3 of hearts. Okay. I want to show you this. Boop. Now, that one, this card, I don't know. For some reason, I put this non-removable X on it. Now, you could have chosen any of these cards, right? But this one was the 3 of hearts. There you go.
That's pretty good.
All normal cards.
That's pretty good.
That's great. Now, I know everybody's thinking you told me the 3 of hearts. So I want to go ahead and ask everybody who's in the audience, type a number from 1 to 5. Type a number from 1 to 5.
Okay.
Okay. You didn't give me a lot of time to prep this, but I'm ready.
You're getting some applause.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Mazen, I have some predictions here. Okay. What's the first number that people type that came up twice?
Came up twice.
Yes.
4.
The number 4. So number 4 came up twice. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm. First, yeah.
So you're saying that if I take this number 4 out, this is the one that people want. They're not going to change it on me?
Nope.
Okay. Then here, number 4 is what we're going to talk about today. All right. Whatever they chose, that's what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
Number 4, they chose React Native and AI. Okay. But they could have chosen any of these other choices if they chose any other number. But today, because of this, React Native and AI. Okay?
That is impressive. Yeah. I'm glad the next one after 4 was 5. So
we would have been talking about that, whatever that subject was.
Yeah, whatever that subject was. Well, and that would have defeated the name of the show, React Native Mornings. So here we are. That's awesome.
Ruined a card deck by thinking of your card ahead of time, so I'll have to go buy another one. Thank you.
All for the show. We'll ask Todd to expense that. Awesome. Well, we haven't really started yet, but we're having some fun here, getting to meet everyone. As you're logging on, please let us know where you're signing in from. We'd love to know where everyone's coming in. Grab your coffee or whatever drink you like, and we'll kind of start digging into the show. So yeah.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and formally introduce yourself now. We can take off your magician's hat. Introduce yourself to the audience and let us know how you got to where you're at now.
Well, I've been into computers since, I guess, the first time I started playing a Nintendo Entertainment System, and I could actually have the games play. I used to actually hook up the controller and try to control people on TV when I was a little kid. I was like, this would be amazing, having some kind of bi-directional access to this cool idea of games and stuff like that. Funny enough, on the other side of the US, we had me, and at the same time, the same age as me today, by the way, he's the same age as Jamin is over there, but he had a computer. He started working on that. So he started nerding out. I started nerding out. We didn't meet each other till like 2013, but in the same time, we went through the same journey. QBasic, wanting computers to talk, having the computer talk back, building games, starting to work on apps, doing Visual Basic, doing Ruby on Rails, doing PHP. Then we got closer and closer until finally we got to Ruby Motion. right? And then finally, I interviewed him on the show similar to this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met him in person at a conference in 2014 in California. We got a big hug in. And I said, man, this is great. And then him, me, and Todd, who's sort of like our mentor, we all formed together and formed Infinite Red in 2015.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Motion meetup, Jamin
That's
mentioned.
right. Yeah.
There you go.
That was good stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you for coming on to the show. I'm very excited about this episode, mainly because you and I got to work together on some vector on DB on device searches with vector DBs. So that was actually a very cool one. We gave a talk over in
Cascadia.
Seattle, Cascadia JS. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun.
That was a killer talk. That was really good.
Yeah. And we'll continue to kind of bring that up here and hopefully kind of build on that talk in the future and give it a couple more times. So that's exciting. Please keep the chat rolling, everyone. If you have any questions for Gant or for myself, we'd love to have them and we can kind of fill them as we're going. So I guess let's kind of move into the next segment here where we'll start introducing our topic a little bit. I heard you have some slides for us, Gant.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I know we're talking about on-device AI, and we're getting into the mix of it here. So I kind of want to do a zoomed-out version of things that zooms in, kind of giving everybody perspective. So if you are a master at AI, you've taken all the courses, you got your PhD, hopefully you still learn a bit in the fact that we're going on device. But I imagine most of the audience members understand just sort of like how to consume AI. They're wondering like, when is the next thing going to happen? How is this going to move forward? And I plan on illuminating that. We're going to demystify the ideas of AI and sort of like say why it's coming to devices and why it's going to be on all of our devices, why it's going to be a big part of every app that you have going forward. So let's go through these slides real quick. Go ahead and set up. So I just want to make sure, and starting like way zoomed out, and I have lots and lots of slides. I plan on just sort of like reading the room. You can ask questions. People in the chat can ask questions. And this will help me sort of like dig back and forth between how far I should go. But at a high level, neural networks, they look similar to this, and they're just numbers. That's the big piece, right?
Yeah.
It's just numbers. And you're like, okay, it's not, I saw this meme a while ago that said AI is just a bunch of if statements. And I was like, that's kind of true. They're like a bunch of weighted if statements that sort of like work against each other and have conditionals. And this is an example of like what it looks like. But you see, I have all these numbers inside here in this 5 node network. And what that means is that it has different parameters inside there. It has like, what are those different pieces and those weights and those biases inside there? That's what the parameters are. So when you hear people say we have a 64 billion parameter model, that means there's 64 billion numbers. And if you're looking at 1 byte per number, that's 64 gigabytes, right? So you're not going to load that on too many phones. Now let's say, honestly, numbers are generally not that small. Sometimes they're 4 bytes. So you're looking like over 200 gigabytes of data, right? Like nearly 250. And so if you're sitting there with 250 gigabytes, you're saying, okay, well, I'm not going to be able to run this on a phone. And that's really why when we're talking about these huge parameter models, we can't run them on phones yet. But the truth is they don't need to be that big, and they can keep getting smaller. So if you take a look at this one, this is how exclusive OR would work in a neural network with just 5 nodes. So you have 0 and 0 go in. It just does some math for you, and then the answer comes out at the end. So you see that the numbers or the weights are all set to 1 or -1. The bias is set to -1.5 or 0.5 or 1.5. And so when you have these numbers in place and you do the math, which is like high school math, these are 9 parameters, right? 5 nodes, 9 parameters. Well, there's one thing we all know about computers is that they're really good at math. So these 9 parameters are instantaneous on even the oldest of old phones, right? The key part is what really needs to, it's the key part there is that people think about, oh, well, it takes so much energy for them to make these models. That's training, right? Yeah. So training is just figuring out what numbers go there that make it work. But inference is just going through it once and using those numbers. So you can train really advanced models, and Google does this, and a lot of other, anything that's running on a phone wasn't ever trained on a phone. It was usually trained in a cloud. It was trained in a bunch of different versions, and they tested it all out. But what ultimately comes down to your phone, what would run on there, would happen really fast. And we call that inference. That's just putting the parameters in and then letting them calculate and pop out the other side. Not finding those numbers and what they need to be to get the right answers. That's training. So running models on a phone is pretty amazing. And if you can shrink the models down so that, they're not 260 gigabytes, if you can run this down in like 4 or 5 megabytes, running it in real time, 60 frames per second, or running on your phone at all is instantaneous.
Why is it better to have it on your device or different?
So many reasons to have it on your, what I would call edge devices, right? So if you want to have some kind of real-time experience and try to see like what's going on, and you see this with filters and everything like that, they're not sending your face off to the cloud, doing the filters and then coming back. That's all running on your phone. If you're trying to figure out, the price of something, this all happens without a round trip. And the second thing that happens because of that is that you're offline ready. So if you're looking to go in a store, pick some stuff up, you want people to go ahead and scan the prices or the deals or different things like that. You don't want that barcode scanner that's inside your app to be running off to some server. One, cost you a bunch of money. And two, it's a lot slower. And three, if they're in one of those stores. I lost internet the other day in one of the stores. I was like, this mall is trying to stop me from getting on my phone.
I feel like I can never get internet at like any grocery store, or like Harris Teeter is our grocery store here. Never has service. Neither does like Lowe's or Home Depot. They must do something in there.
I think that there's a lot that they do for security as well. The Wi-Fi, sometimes they actually have Wi-Fi reflective paint that people are putting in some of these places to make sure that people can't access it from right outside the building, things like that. But also these are extremely large, like antenna structures. They're sort of like cages that are blocking out signals or sometimes receiving them instead. So it depends on the building, it depends on the paint, depends on where you are in the neighborhood. But do you want that to be part of your product? No. Do you want AI in your product? Yes. So you push it to the client, push it straight to the device.
Nice.
And also, like the way they do these things, it's sort of like for rich content, is it just pre-choose the information. I have a demo here, and we don't have to dig into it further, but I can show you this. Like this is a number inference. Do you want me to like show you this live or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the trick is your phone is really good at sort of like running some computer vision stuff on it, which it can actually pre-choose some of the information before you would even send it to a network. So we'll just kind of go to this, for example. So this is going to be a convolutional neural network. It's a visualization of it. And this is called the MNIST dataset model. It is to identify numbers. So if I come over here and I write the number 3, you can see that the node that actually fires on this one is 3. So what's happening here is there's what I drew. Here's it running it through different convolutional filters. This is checking for edges, checking for sharpness, checking for roundness, checking for different pieces. And then it downsamples them and chews them up and runs them through again so that you can get it. So it does it, downsamples it, does it again, downsamples it, which does instantaneously. Then it connects it to a neural network. So these are the nodes of a neural network. And then these come through, and then that connects to 3. Oh. So you can run the processing, the visual processing, even if we talk about like how to save tokens. We talk about how to save the stuff. So you can actually do some of the pre-processing on the phone, even if you want to send some of it off. Or, in this case, you could easily run this model. You saw how fast it's actually working here.
It was instant.
And this is working directly in the browser, by the way. This is not going to a server. Doesn't charge anything. So as I'm writing the number 1, you see 1's lit up. Second guess is somewhere around 3, but you can see what neurons are firing and as it's passing it through. But there's my drawing, and then it's getting downsampled with a little bit of computer vision, and then that's getting sent off to a neural network. And this is kind of the same thing that happens, honestly, with tokens and like
Mhm.
tokenizing things. Same concept. This is just another example. I'll skip past this one. But so like vectors and networks and embeddings, you're worried about tokens. And the trick here is that when we put it in this sort of like virtual, like when we pre-chew the information, we have this ability to sort of place things in latent space. And what's great about that is that we can get these vectors for storing it. And so vectors can, if it's intelligent, and we're finding those features, like a 3 has 2 rounded portions to it, that will put it close to an 8 in space. You can get this with images as well. So like this image here might have this vector, and this one that's got the same sort of roundedness, but the colors are a little different. It might be the same vector, but just smaller. Like it'll be like less magnitude, but it'll still put it in the same sort of space. So if you have pictures that are similar, it'll still put them like close. Then you put like a different one, and that'll put that one like sort of far away.
Yeah.
So like now we pre-chew images and we put them into this like vector space, and then we can see how similar things are. So you can see how similar a Raven is to a writing desk by how close sort of like what the features we're figuring out are and putting it in that sort of space. And this is sort of like, this goes to our demo like we did Cascadia, that we have these things placed inside of a dimensional space, and that their proximity means like what it is. So we could judge that distance with either like a dot product or a cosine similarity. And so this is just the math that goes behind it, just showing you. But you can see the numbers as it gets closer. I'm going to switch this to cosine similarity. The difference between them is it's normalized. Cosine similarity is normalized of the dot product.
Okay. Yeah.
So you see they get since we'll get numbers between 0 and 1, and it ignores the magnitude. So you can see we're getting closer. This is saying like that's a 1. That's like these are the same thing. But you can see like something that kind of get close to it. If we pre-chew the images or the words or the vocabulary, kind of put it out there, then it could kind of figure out that's sort of close to being the same compared to this over here, which is getting a score of minus 88.
Yeah.
Right. So since we got this ability, now we're just talking about not even like just AI. We're talking about vectors, which really goes to like what we did in Cascadia. And I know you have a demo for that, but this is the visualization of exactly what's going on there. Is that, if something lands in this vector space and someone lands over here in this vector space, how similar are they? And then is this the same thing or is it not?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. So a lot of cool stuff.
I love that. If you could go back to that visualization, this one, I really like this one because that shows off what you just basically did there, right?
Yeah.
A helicopter, drone, rocket, they sky and engine. So they're pretty similar to each other. They're within that same space. But then something that's also in the sky, but doesn't have an engine, has wings instead, is similar space, but not necessarily the same space when it comes to the engine part, right? So it has its own wings, and they're also within their own space too. So I think that's a very good visualization of it, right? And we'll get into it in the demo more. An image, when an image is taken, it kind of gets broken down into many different embeddings, and then within those, that's kind of, I guess you can kind of look at it as those embeddings then kind of put it in that space, kind of, and then that's how you're able to then get closer to that specific item based on all the different embeddings that it gets broken down into.
Perfect. And honestly, this is probably a good point for you to demo that app if you want to, and then we can come back and I could show you more stuff about sort of like ML kit and all that other stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, right. I wasn't ready for this. No. So here, let me switch over so you can kind of see my phone here. So yeah, this is that vector search app that we had demoed at Cascadia. So if you had watched that talk, this kind of look similar or familiar to you all. Mm-hmm. This app is just still internal right now at Infinite Red. Reach out to us, if you're interested in something like this, and we're going to speak more about potentially open sourcing this in the future. Mm-hmm. So we have an empty database. We need to seed it. Basically, we're initializing our database, putting in some sample products, just something to kind of give us that starting point. Yeah. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and take a couple pictures. I have 2 items here on my desk. You'll get to see them in a second. I'm going to add a product. So within this product, which you can see here, this is a infinite red mug. So I'm going to take
love it.
a couple pictures of this. So this is what I had mentioned earlier, right? We're taking our image. What's happening with the vectors is once this image is stored, essentially, it finds the relevant part of the image. So in this case, it would kind of eliminate any, here you can kind of see my keyboard and mouse. It would eliminate that piece and just kind of take the mug into focus, and then that becomes the product, right? So,
and that salience model gives you sort of a map, right? So salient says what's the salient object here, and that allows you to ignore changing what the product should be based on what it's seeing in the background. And then that way, when you're taking what's turned into a vector and what's put inside of latent space, there is you're just taking that part and then running the sort of like the feature algorithm on just the cup, regardless of what the background looks like.
Yeah, I kind of want to also mention, as I'm filling this form out, you can see there's price and aisle. Our whole concept behind the talk and like something like this is, if you are Lowe's, you are a Home Depot, you're an Amazon, you want to be able to have your user take a picture in the store and be like, oh wait, you're looking for that red mug, it's on aisle 12 and that's how much it costs, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I added my mug. I'm going to add another product here real quick. I'm just going to add a pen that I have laying around here.
Nice. We got to send you an infinite red pen.
You know what? Is this an infinite red pen?
No, just keep going with this one. That's fine.
We're going to do it again.
Whoa, you're switching colors on it.
Well,
in the same one. All right, we're doing it live.
I'm going to delete. This is an infinite red pen.
All right. Remember, it's a red mug and a red pen. Let's see how this goes.
Oh, this is going to be, I didn't even test this part. Let's see.
Do it live.
All right, let's see. This will be an aisle 1.
That's good. It'll make me wish that we're talking about Flutter here in a second.
So we're going to search for our product, and
boom,
we got our mug. So this is me kind of testing it out and checking it out.
Yeah, all on device, all directly there. So you could basically ship the database to the app and then say, what's this? And it'll use your database, vector, salient it, vector it, and then see where it is. Oh, nice. I want to buy a pen. Hey, pens look the same. There you go.
Right. So
it's just closest in vector space.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's a good example of kind of showing off what you had mentioned. And one thing I also want to highlight that I pointed out in the talk was I was using an iPhone there, so that, that device specifically took our image using Apple Vision framework and broke it down into 768 dimensions. So the graph we saw of the sky, the engine, and the what was it? The wings, right? Those were 3 dimensions, right? Yeah. Small 3-dimensional space. Apple takes it to 768 dimensions. That's a lot.
Hard to visualize.
Hence why my 2 pens that look the same but had different color, it was still able to kind of put them close to each other and kind of point out which one it was. And then if you're on Android, it's 1,280 dimensional embedding. So you get more embeddings. And that one is using TensorFlow Lite to generate those images there.
Yeah. And kudos to Trevor for helping in that demo process. He was really key in making sure that as we were building the demo back in the day, getting things set up to have an app that worked and did on-device vector search. He put a lot of time in that. So kudos, Trevor. Totally. Yeah.
So let's get you back on.
Oh, yeah. Whoa, here we go.
Yeah. And if you know anything about Gant, there's a lot of math in these presentations. Which
I dialed it down.
You did? Yeah, I know. I
mean, like I said, we could have gone a little bit more into, similarity.products.
I brought up a dry erase board here, and we could kind of start doing some math.
Yeah, my dry erase board says React Native it into AI. So there you go.
There you go. Nice.
So, digging in a little bit further. So you're starting to see here, like when you explain how it worked, it first ran the image through a salience, which pulled out a part of it, then ran the vector featurizer, like features, and that pulled out 768 features of it. And then that was stored inside of a vector database, where you're just figuring out closest distance to those, which object and what images create the smallest Gaussian distance to those other same 768 points, right? And this sort of like that pipelining is going further and further into phones. So proof is in the pudding. I just want to say, like, if you were trying to find out who a person was, the first algorithm it's going to run is face detection, whether or not there is a face in the photo and how many faces there are. It doesn't first try to figure out who the person is. The first round says, hey, are there faces? And then give me those faces, crop them out, and give them to me, right? And then once you have that, it'll run it through a landmark detection. Landmark detection is just like vector space for your face, right? And it'll just sort of say, here's where the features are. Who has a face this similar to this with those same landmarks? And that's how you can identify. And that's actually how I run the Nicolas Cage algorithm as well. It's basically using landmark detection. So I did have a demo that I did a while ago where we did for Infinite Red, did for a company where they asked for pose detection, and that's detecting a body pose. And it gave us a 3D model. So it chose the body. Then it set off landmark points in 3D space. And with that, we delivered to a client. You can see my hair is darker here, so you can see it's a while ago. But you can see we're testing different workouts, and, I could move around because there's a 3D space, but it could actually figure out what's going on and how I'm doing, and then be able to see if I'm actually doing my workout or not. So verifying squats, could verify push-ups, could verify all kinds of stuff. And all that was running on device. So then we used Blaze Pose, which is actually the model that MLKit uses. But now they've got so many on-device features. I just want to make sure like people know all the different things you could do. There's summarization, proofreading, rewriting, image description, and prompt. This is all generative AI without ever leaving the phone.
Yeah.
So if your app could utilize any of this stuff, MLKit, by the way, I'm sorry, I know, Mazen, you like to read the questions, but I'm just rolling.
Yeah, no,
this
is a good question because we're going to get into the app here later. So you're going over MLKit now, and to answer your question, Hannibal, I believe, MLKit is native, yes, but we have a React Native plugin within our docs, which will be in the show notes later on. But we basically took the MLKit features. So there's a couple of them in the app right now, and there's more coming in the future. We brought those into the native side, and then pretty much created Expo plugins to kind of get those over to the React Native end, so you can use it in a React Native app.
Yeah, we had a pretty early version of this, which I demoed at App.js just a couple years ago. I want to say a year and a half ago now. And so there's a talk about that where I demo just one of the features, but there's plenty of different things that MLKit, and they keep adding features all the time. These generative ones, I think, came out in the last 3 to 4 months. But they do barcode scanning, face detection, face mesh, text recognition, image labeling, object tracking for coaches and things like that, digital ink, pose detection. Remember, they use Blaze Pose. They use a couple of other pose detections there. Selfie segmentation. Segmentation is where you're removing something from the background. So if you want to like do the Google Meets blur the background or pull the person out like a sticker, that's the algorithm. Not ever going to a server, not paying a dime, just putting this directly on device. Subject segmentation, which is sort of like what we were doing a second ago, where we're identifying the cut before we put it into the other algorithm. So that's sort of like we're doing TF Lite or Apple Vision. It's saying like, what's the prominent object, and remove that so that we can do either vector searches or other cool things. Document scanner, dude, the amount of stuff that goes into making a document scanner. As a company, as Infinite Red has written document scanners from scratch, we know exactly how much headache and work goes into that. It's super cool. Now that one is only for Android right now, but super cool. Let's see. Also, natural language. You can identify what language it is, do some translation, suggest smart replies. Like, why wouldn't you? And
I also want to just highlight something. When we were at Cascadia, someone came up to us and was like, hey, I'm building my app in React Native, but I'm running into a problem where she works for a company that does, if I'm not mistaken here, it was like ledgers. So everything is done
Oh,
on paper right now. I don't
yeah.
know if you remember this. Everything is done on paper right now. And she's building a React Native app to basically take this company, instead of filling out documents, you fill it out on an iPad, a
Yeah.
computer, whatever it is, and then it gets uploaded to a database. But she's like, but she has the problem of all these old documents that need to be
Hmm.
brought over and imported in. And we actually pointed her at document scanner. She's like, and it was actually pretty cool because she was like, I only need this for Android. And we're like, well, lucky for
You're
you.
lucky.
If you download the React Native ML kit repo that we have, this is actually open source, so you can kind of check it out. On
Yeah.
Android, you can use document scanner, and I believe she messaged me on LinkedIn saying that it was working for her, and she's starting to integrate it within
That's
her
awesome.
pipeline for it. So practical real life examples here where companies can use all this stuff for day-to-day
Yeah.
use, and it's
It,
all on device.
it's mind blowing to me, Mazen, because like I I guess I grew up, I've been doing programming for 25 years now. I grew up in this sort of like hackathon, weekend warrior, build cool stuff. Like when you hand me a superpower like this, I get like 15 ideas instantly.
Yeah.
And I know there's quite a few people listening that do the same exact thing. And during our talk at Cascadia, one of the ones that I wanted to say is just like, when you're taking pictures, just a simple vector search we were talking about right there.
Mhm.
I always have this idea. I told them, just the other day, somebody delivered a package to the wrong door here. And that happened to someone else again recently. And during the holidays, that can really bum people out. Is that you say, oh, here's your food order or here's your package, and they deliver it to the wrong house. And then you get an email saying your package is delivered and it's not even close to,
Yeah.
the right door. But AI with just what we saw earlier, if it loaded 12 doors, like all my neighbors' doors and mine, and then it go to take a picture, and then it does the same vector search we saw a second ago, it could go, hey, we're pretty sure that's the neighbor's door, or we have a low confidence, right,
Yeah.
that you delivered this to the right house. Can you just double check and then click a button to tell us that we would deliver to the right house? And then the deliverer person goes, oh, whoops. Or they say, yeah, they updated their door, and they press a button. And
Yeah.
we still trust people. We still employ people. We just empower them.
Mhm.
And that's free to have on a phone tomorrow. Like,
Yeah.
like the development time is the one thing that stops this entire problem from existing in the community. They already have
Mhm.
an app. They're already taking photos, but they just haven't thought of all the cool ways you can utilize AI, and with zero charge.
Yeah, and at Cascadia, actually, I don't think I spoke to you about this. Someone actually asked, it was like, well, what if I don't want to take all the pictures of of the doors in the neighborhood and stuff? What's something else that could be done? And
Mhm.
actually, I know for me specifically here in Durham, every house has their number like by the
Yeah,
side of their door, right? I know
they're
some
scanning.
cities don't have that. Exactly. You get ink recognition, text recognition to grab the number from the image. And, geolocation puts you on that street. So you're like, okay, hey, 123 Main Street. Nope, this needs to go to 124 Main Street. So automatically the delivery person gets a ping and it's like, all right, pick that package up and then take it over to the next door.
And the reason these can run, and it goes to what I was showing people earlier. These models are trained with, you know, gigabytes of information run on cloud servers, and then quantized and brought down and optimized, and then they
Yeah.
come down. And who cares if it's like, it's a 1 gigabyte piece on like today's modern phones?
Hmm.
It's definitely smaller than that. But let's say we pipelined all of these things together. How big would that be? I don't think it would be a gigabyte if we put every ML kit model active at the same time. And then you could have all these features running on the phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's pretty much the end of my slides here. Let's see. Oh, yeah, of course, to kind of promote you back up here to say,
Yeah.
like, yep, you've got the ML kit. We do have a wrapper. Sometimes it is something that people are using, and I know that there's some active small amounts of development that go into ML kit for React Native. It is definitely open source. So if people have needs, if you need to be scanning those barcodes or things like that, one, you could recommend it, but two, we are a consulting company, so you could always hire us to build it, and it'll be done real fast.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. I'll actually take over the share and
Please do.
show off the app real quick. One thing like you mentioned, we have document scanner. I believe that there's an open PR for that, so that should
Yeah,
be in soon. Thank you to Tyler and
Frank.
Frank for working on that. And I know barcode scanner work was just started on it this week, I believe.
Oh,
So
that's
PR
awesome.
will probably be there soon, right?
I can't tell you how many times I can't figure out the price of something when I'm at a store.
Yeah.
And I know that there's end caps and there's 9 times out of 10 they don't work or anything like that. Just give it to me on my phone. Let me scan the
Mhm.
stuff and know what the price is. And you get information. Honestly, depending on your privacy notice, yeah, like I could do it all on my phone, or you could actually know what products people are interested in. You'd be
Yeah.
like, this got scanned 17 times at this store. People do not know what the price is. Go put a price on it.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. So here's the app. I'm actually going to scroll down, show a couple of stuff. So this is iOS again. The one thing that's missing is document scanner. If I was showing off the demo, you'll see that. Image labeling with not safe for work JS. Again, NSFW JS. That's another package that
Yeah,
Infinite Red has out there that you can kind of use. We have face detection. Uh, again, like you can see in that image, it detects all the different faces in there. And then object detection. Let's just do a quick object detection demo.
sure.
So some keys here,
Oh, now we all can get in your house.
right?
There you go.
One object. Let me clear that photo. Let's bring back our trusty pins. So there should be more than one object in this picture, right?
It should be.
So there we go.
Nice.
Right. So it got 1, 2, 3, 4 items.
And where they
Again.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And that's great for taking each of these individually and then putting them in a batch into a vector database, like we showed in the first demo, and then comparing them.
Yeah.
You could actually, you took a picture of each product. That's because you're assigning a price and you're assigning the aisle for that product.
Mhm.
But if you wanted to just go ahead and say, we're doing detail, like we have these things, right?
Yeah.
And you want to say what we have and what we don't have, you just line them up, take a photo, do object detection, and then basically it could vectorize each of those rectangles, sticking them into the database. So you say, do we have this? Pull up the photo, and then it says, yeah, we have that.
Yeah.
It
Exactly.
was brought into the database back when you took this photo. Yeah,
Mhm.
there's just so many. This is just the fun stuff, like this is the magic of being a mobile app developer. You get to add cool features, and there's so many cool apps out there. But with AI getting smaller, AI chips going on phones, I really love that at Infinite Red we've given multiple presentations about what the future is going to look like. Even though people are just starting to start asking for these features, I think that once it's in all these apps, and I see that Google obviously sees it with MLKit, and a lot of other really cool like Apple Vision, and you see React Native Vision. Just the kind of concepts that we're getting there is that we want to have this augmented, intelligent lifestyle, and that's coming through with stuff that we're making.
Yeah. Yeah. And I personally love the one where you demoed you were squatting sort of thing. I
Yeah,
think you and I have talked about this quite a bit.
yeah.
One of the startups I had worked on in the past, we were doing injury prevention for athletes. And that
Oh,
was something that was near and dear to me, right? Because I was hurt quite a bit when I was playing. Had
yeah.
a lot
Does
of
everybody know
injuries.
you were a professional football soccer player?
Thank you for using football, right?
Gotcha.
Um, I, I think so. I've mentioned it on the podcast before. But I was always hurt, right? That was the thing that kind of, once I kind of stopped playing and switched to
Yeah.
coaching, and then continued, working on, my mobile dev career. Me and two other co-founders from Duke University here, they were also athletes, D1 athletes at Duke, but they were hurt all the time too and couldn't really perform. So we
Huh.
kind of came together and put together this company, Fathom, at the time, where the whole reason of the app was for you to basically, we'll take your workouts,
Mhm.
we will take input from you based on pain or soreness and whatnot.
Yeah.
And we also had a device that you kind of wear on you that would essentially track your skeletal structure. So basically the force of impact that you would land in.
Oh,
And
nice.
we took all that data, right? So we had Bluetooth. It was built in React Native too. It was on the store. We had a couple customers.
Very nice. You sure you
Bluetooth,
didn't want to build it in number 5 over here?
hard pass.
Flutter? No? Okay. Sorry, Flutter folks.
All good. Now, and here's the thing that's interesting. I kind of want to lead up to the question here to you is back then, this was probably around 2017, 18
Okay. Yeah.
or so, right? It was, we had said we had a machine learning backend, right? So
Yeah.
I guess the word AI wasn't really used that well back then. It was more machine learning that was the phrase, right? And
Yeah.
basically what we did was, and again, when I was kind of learning it and boiled down to, we took the NASM book. So this is like what athletic trainers use to learn to become athletic trainers.
Oh, nice.
We took that book and kind of boiled it down into a model.
Yeah.
And based on all this input, which is what an athletic trainer would ask you, right? And I remember in college when I was hurt, I'd go up to the trainer and she'd be like, okay, what hurts? My lower back. All right. Is it sore or is it painful? It's sore. Scale of 1 to 5. What is it? I'm like, it's a 5. And based on all that, she would then say heat versus ice bath
You just
versus
put the inputs
stretches.
in the beginning of the model there.
Essentially, right? And that's all that kind of came in there. And I remember it being very like complicated. So I assume, now as time has come on, as we've evolved and learned, it was complicated then. Why was it so complicated then? And what
Great
is
question.
that? Could you say there's like a point where once we figured this little thing out, it was an easy hump to get over?
Yeah. So that's a great way. I'll give you a quick history. AI, as a term, is generalized AI. It's anything that imitates intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
So if I had a tic-tac-toe game and I just had every possible combination of tic-tac-toe, but you felt like you were playing it and it was playing back, it's AI. If I just had always go to the left of the player, it sucks. It's bad AI, but it's AI.
Yeah.
Machine learning kind of came around this concept of saying like, well, what if we let the data do the programming? Let's show it a bunch of examples and let that do it. And so they came up with the idea. You remember those neural networks? The idea is that it sees those. And so machine learning is you give it the tests and then, this is supervised machine learning. So technically a subset of machine learning, but you're giving it the tests and then you're allowing it to figure out what numbers would have given it that answer, how far away it was. And that's the training process. And so for getting one input or a simple model of saying like, how many objects in this image, like how many birds in this image, where's the person's face? You give it a bunch of images of people and where the faces are, and then it gets better and better at putting a box over the correct place. Mm-hmm. And after you run this in the cloud for a couple of weeks and you've burned out your GPUs, you get this model down and it has a certain number of parameters. Maybe it's like a couple of megabytes large at max, but those parameters have been fine-tuned in the cloud for a long time.
Yeah.
So that concept was around, but the problem was just taking every single pixel and giving it to the machine is garbage in, garbage out. It wasn't working. But then they came up with the convolution, like pre-chewing the information, putting it in a smart space, getting it into vector space, getting it into this kind of concept where it's in a spot that makes more sense. What are the features of this? Like play 20 questions with it and then tell me what it is. Like now I have a lot of information that's unique to what this is. And then you can choose what those features are going to be depending on what it is you're trying to look for. But in 2012, we actually got better than human-like performance in showing what numbers or like what images are here. So we're getting better and better. And so we're starting to say like these convolutional neural networks are doing amazing. And so we're able to start to get further and further. And computer vision was right alongside it helping. Now, the problem that happens is words were hard. Yeah. Words were really hard because they have multiple contexts. Where I say not is really important in what the context of what I'm saying is. So in 2019, Google published the Transformer, All You Need Is Attention. And that was sort of like the final click in place for language. And then people said, look at what it can do, train with tons of stuff. Yeah. In 2021, actually, I think November 2021, we might be right around really close to what it was, like 3 or that not that long ago. So we see ChatGPT say we trained tons. We trained as much of Wikipedia and the internet as we could with words, with the transformer model, and it is good. Like, let's make this bigger. Let's make this crazier. And they just started scaling, because if you add more stuff, then you were getting better results. Now, obviously, the algorithm needed to be refined, but then people started applying this concept to generative images. And that's honestly where we were getting better generated images. So the sort of like this one paper published in 2019 set everybody on fire for getting better generated images, better generated text. And then that brought everybody back. That's kind of why people say AI now, because the concepts underneath it is saying supervised machine learning or unsupervised learning or all these kind of people are back to like, it's in everybody's faces. Let's just say AI, anything's AI again. It's still the right umbrella. It's just very vast. And so languages, if you're talking about when you're doing your project, languages sucked. Computer vision was okay. Small models were difficult. You would have had to run it on like a computer and a back end and the images off. You'd have had to do so many things, but that's all been like catching on fire, especially since 2021. Everybody wants the new AI. They want the new feature. We're in a little bit of like, I'm sick of hearing about it, but also, oh my goodness, can you see that it did this, right? So as more people funnel into it, as it goes into more apps, as it sort of increases the quality of life, I could see AI coming into each of those features. But if you go back just a little bit, we had breakthroughs, but you weren't seeing them. And then in 2021, we had a breakthrough that everybody saw. And honestly, I don't think it's going to be much longer before we're going to see even more breakthroughs kind of coming in faster, because the more people that come into it, it's not just PhDs that are doing this. It's chats and conversations like this.
Yeah, because it's funny you also say that, because our CTO at the time, the one that was running the machine learning backend, and you mentioned it was a backend built in Python. He was a PhD.
You got a better CTO now, so you're good.
Right. Sorry, Paul. He was a PhD, and he was actually working on bringing in that data to the backend. And I do remember, like, as he would ping us, like, okay, chapter X is now done. Chapter this is, and as he kept going, the data returned back to the user got better and better and better as we evolved, right? And I kind of want to start wrapping up a little bit here and just like mention, like, that app back then worked, did its thing, but in today's world, right, that model can now be brought onto a device for faster response, and then as updates come in, you can continue updating your model. New version of the NASM book comes out, you can keep updating your data within that, right? Models on device. It's
amazing.
What brought me to this topic was showing your workout, your squats, and right, we had, if you with certain inputs, we would have to like specify exercises for you to do, right? Easy way to detect if you're completing the exercises, right? In the 3D dimensional space, you put your phone out and it ran through the exercises and it kind of walked you through it, right? So there's a lot of stuff that's happening where on-device AI is free. On-device AI is fast. On-device AI is powerful in today's world, and there's so many different applications. Mentioned the company
come up with so many ideas. Like, it's just too easy to come up with ideas for this stuff. If I remember I had a few of us going to Render Atlanta, and back when this stuff was starting to take off, we did 3 apps in one 45-minute talk. Just like, what if this happened? Here's the app that fixes it. What if this happens? Here's how you can go ahead and do that. And it's just so much fun to kind of come up with these and be differentiators in your market. But, the truth is, there's going to be first to the trough. And I think that's going to be people right now. They're coming up with they're able to see where the future is going. They know that's going to go on edge devices. They know that they're going to have a lot more mobile app development in their future. And then there's people who are going to be showing up at the end of it saying, like, I want my app to be like that.
Yeah. So again, for all you out there listening right now, if you want to use any of these libraries that we've mentioned, or even just, learn more, please reach out to us at Infinite Red. We'd be more than happy to help in chat and kind of help you get this AI on your device and get you giving your users a better performant app, with more native feel and, faster response times using all this.
That's really important. And that's one thing I want to say that just is really important. There's the sort of weekend warrior style of stuff, and I think you should try any of those things that you have here. What we do at Infinite Red, though, has to scale. So if you come to us with anything that's like a company, lots of our apps have millions of users on them. And it's very important that if you're looking to sort of do a proof of concept, get digging into this right away.
Yeah.
But if you're looking to sort of really take things to the next level, anything with React Native, going down into native, having to do with complex or advanced concepts like vision, AI, maps. It's really just we're nerds here, and we love kind of fixing those problems overall.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. Well, I think we can kind of start wrapping things up. I want to thank everyone in the audience for showing up, asking questions, interacting. The chat was really cool. There was a lot happening
I
there.
wish we had gotten more time for more questions. I know it would have been fun.
It's all good. Yeah. Gant, thank you for coming on to the show. I really appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and kind of fun to relive the Cascadia JS talk there.
Yes, yes, fun. Indeed. That was fun. Actually, one little bit. For the Cascadia, it took a second for him to take the image and for it to come up. So if you watch the video, you can watch my heart completely drop as the live demo. He takes the picture, and then there's this moment where I go, no, and you catch it for a second, and then the image finds it in the vector database. It just had a second, but because you're on stage and time is different up there, he took the picture and then it didn't show it right away, and I just went, ah! So if you ever watch that talk, it's a fun moment to see.
It was fun. It was fun. So before we sign off, I kind of want to add a little segment here at the end, and I want to ask you a couple rapid fire questions.
All right, I am ready.
You ready?
Yes.
So what music do you like to listen to while you're coding?
Music without words. I actually have an entire playlist called Music Without Words. It goes all the way from angry classical to just dubstep. It's really weird, but the right song comes on at the right time with code, and that's magic.
Yeah, I agree. I could agree with that for sure. What is your favorite movie or TV show? Recent.
Ooh, I just finished watching again all of Modern Family, and I just think that that's a sleeper classic of a show. I know a lot of people watched it. It was really big for a while, but I keep talking to people who haven't seen it, and so fun. The writing is really, really good. The adventure of this family is really nice. So I just finished Modern Family. That's going to be my choice.
Nice, nice. I thought it was going to be, what is that Netflix
Stranger
show?
Things.
No, the one with all the music, the cartoon. When we were at Cascadia, you and I feel like everyone else around us was talking about this show. I don't even know them.
K-pop Demon Hunters. Yes,
K-pop Demon Hunters.
If you haven't watched K-pop Demon Hunters by now, I just don't know what to do for you.
Okay,
that's it.
I'll get on it. My bad.
You just gotta press Netflix and pull it up, 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 and then watch it.
Oh yeah, that is the song. Yeah.
Did you say, yeah, that is a song?
I remember it now, because during karaoke, everyone wanted to sing that song. And when that song came on, I was the only one in there being like,
what is happening right now? Yeah. Hey, K-pop Demon Hunters is fantastic. Definitely watch it if you have kids. It is good. My daughter loves it. But yeah, it's right now I'm watching Stranger Things and just finished Modern Family.
Awesome. What are 1 to 2 books you've been recommending people to read recently?
Oh, one of them is A Hacker's Mind, and so that's a really good one. And it's 1 second. Let me go get it. Let me go get it.
Oh, look at that live.
Aha! Proof. There you go. If you've never read any Bruce Schneier before, it's dude on security, everything like that. This is about thinking of problems in such an elegant and interesting way. And I reference this in one of my talks that I do about how to break AI. And you've got to think a little bit outside the box. Hacker's Mind, so good. Besides that, let's see. One more book. I'll say that I am currently, you know what? Andy Weir, I just say Hail Mary, just finished that. Really good. You need a fiction book. You need a little nonfiction.
Yeah, exactly. Nice. All right. Is there a product that you recently discovered that you really love, whether it's an app, home gadget, or something.
Wow. All right. So
I'm
product,
always in for the home gadget
dude,
slash apps.
I have some really interesting gadgets. I can't actually show you this one because we're going to be mailing it to people at Infinite Red as a gift. So
Ooh.
there's something I really like that we just got. There's a couple of pieces, so I have to think of something that is not
What about a home gadget?
home gadgets.
It could be a one that's been around for a very long time.
All right. You know what I have to go with? And then I know I keep bringing up Jamin in this one, but well, like I said, we're united across the U.S. I just did my whole lights with Govee lights,
Mm.
and he did too. So the best thing in the world is that after Thanksgiving, my wife said it's time for us to decorate for Christmas, and then I pulled out my phone and I said, like, "Oh, you like red and white or red and green?" She's like, "Red and green," and so I just did alternating red and green, strolling across the top. I was like,
Nice.
did my part, put my phone back in my pocket. Like, now you got to go put up Christmas trees or hang tinsel or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But every holiday, I just go ahead and put the new professional Govee lights on. We've had Halloween, other things like that. So
Govee
it's really
lights.
nice.
Nice. Yeah. And they do have permanent lighting too. So
That's what's set up. It's permanent year round,
there you
high
go.
thermal temperatures, cold temperatures. It's not going to come off. It's been fine so far.
Awesome. All right. Again, this is one that is very important.
Uh-oh.
Pizza, pineapple on pizza? Yes or no?
I'm going to split the room. Okay. I
just
need
need a
my
yes or no.
savory and my salty to match. And pineapple on pizza does not do that for me. So sorry if you put pineapple on my pizza, I will order a different pizza. I will walk 30 minutes to go get the best pizza, and it won't have any pineapple to it. No, Juliana, no
No,
pineapple on pizza.
no pineapple on pizza.
Yeah,
Right.
it's just I get it. It's a fun thing, but I am super picky. If you start sweetening my salties, you better be good at it.
Nice. Okay. Last two here.
Yeah.
What are you most excited about the tech world right now? In the tech world?
It'd be unfair to just go ahead and say AI, right?
Yeah.
I think for the tech world, I will say that it does fit directly into this. And if you'd asked me not in this one, it would have been the fact that we're seeing more and more on-device AI, both in chips and in model sizes. Like I said, in the past 3 to 4 months, MLKit added generative AI plugins to MLKit so that you could actually have those on device. And we're only going to see more and more of that happen. And that's going to sort of bring, we don't even know how that's going to change society yet. We keep thinking we do, but people aren't coming up with the ideas. The world's going to be very interesting and different in 5 years. And I think that we can make all of our experiences way better.
Yeah. Awesome. The chat is continuing to go about this pineapple on pizza. I love it. I think
love it.
That question might stick.
So that's the truth.
Awesome. So where can people find you if they want to reach out? And then I like this question. I heard it recently. And how can the listeners be useful to you?
Oh, I love that. So one thing is that you could go ahead and find me on infinite.red on the website. My picture's on there. Todd picked the picture. So if you don't like it, email him at hello@infinite.red. And then I also have my own website, gantlaborde.com. I'm Gant Laborde on Twitter, X, but still Twitter. And then I am gantlaborde.com on Blue Sky. And one of the things I think that's really key is not enough of people who create or say things ever get to really understand the impact of what happens there. And I love it when we have Chain React, so that we have the US React Native conference, and we see somebody a year later. And unprompted or anything like that, they say, hey, I went to Chain React last year looking for a job. This year, I have a job. Or, hey, I went here last year and now I have this. So there's always like this touch point that's necessary to get an update on a person on how you affected their life. When you're doing these broadcasts and you're helping people, we put time and energy into these things to inform people, to show them cool stuff. My favorite thing in the world, if people reach out later on and say, hey, I talked to my company about this, or hey, I actually tried that, and this is my opinion of it, or just like, here's a picture of your stuff working in my app. And when we used to do Ignite, all the time in the very beginning, people would really continuously keep sending us, here's our app with Ignite, here's our app with Ignite, here's our app with Ignite. And now we don't need as much because they come into sales calls. They're like, hey, we're looking for the next step. We've built our prototypes or a version 1 or version 2 in Ignite. And then they do stuff. So, but I think that these calls are really important. Come back when somebody says something that changes your life or you think about them. Just as general advice, reach out and let them know you were thinking about them.
Awesome. Cool. Well, that's all the questions I had. I like that. That was fun.
I love it. I like rapid fire.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thanks to all our listeners. Gant, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Please don't forget to subscribe and reach out if you have any topic suggestions, something you'd like me to cover in the future. I'd love to have it. And also have a happy new year. And I will actually see you all in 2026. Stay tuned. We might have some cool announcements coming on about this show for next year. Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.